Hi, this is two members of Wavestar II. We thought we'd try out a little idea we've had to talk through some of the music that we've made over the years and maybe give a bit of an insight as to how it's written and why we took the decisions we did and how it ended up
It's
sounding.
what do you mean decisions we make? It's you make the decisions. I come up with the ideas and you ruin it.
That's right. So John comes up with the ideas. I tell him why he's wrong. I think it's true to say at the end of it, we end up with something that's fairly listenable, don't we?
Yes. Well, that's a matter of opinion, of course.
I'll make a quick apology for the quality of my video. I've got an awful webcam on here. And,
well, I'm only using the lappy's webcam anyway, so...
It's probably for the best. The least seen, the better.
No, you don't want me in HD. You don't.
So the track we've chosen to talk about today, it's from the Wavestar II album Nightwinds, and it is the title track, which is Nightwinds. So I'll start playing it back so it reminds John what it sounds like.
We'll have to learn it again.
Thankfully not. I'll start it playing. There we go. There's the
I've got it running at this end as well.
There's the gentle introduction. I love it when we play this live and this starts up.
Yeah. It all started from a simple idea that I came up with. Do you remember when we get to the big bit in the middle, which is later on, and you said I could do something with that?
You were living down in Devon at the time.
Yeah,
you were down in Devon, and I don't. Did you play me over the phone, or I think you might have even.
I probably sent you a rough mix of it into Dropbox or something.
Yeah, and I know
you said I could do something with that.
At the time, I think you'd got the kind of 3-4 kind of waltzy time sequence that was running that comes in a while. And I think at that time, I don't think you even thought about putting guitar on, did you?
No. It was just the sequence. It was a gentle intro. I'd done. Not quite the same as what's on now.
What with the idea of guitar?
Probably yours.
I'll probably throw a synth solo over it or something.
No, but it's how it works. I might come up with an idea, or it might be one of yours I've stolen.
I'll put a claim on that now.
No, but it's nice how this piece in particular, it turned into an epic, because when you heard the chord structure in the orchestral bit near the end, you said, "Oh, I'd love to do something with that." Yeah. And it was like the Alice in Wonderland syndrome. It just growed and growed.
Yeah. I know. We did disappear down a rabbit hole with this one. So it was fairly. I mean, it was like a 3 or 4 minute piece when it started, wasn't it?
Yeah. It weren't very long.
Yeah. Just turning it down a little bit here. Yeah, I do know when you first played it to me, we had this little waltzy section, and I've got a feeling it was me that convinced you to try some guitar on it. And what did I keep saying? Less notes, fewer notes.
Yeah. I was gonna say that, and you actually made me play a bit of Ebo on that intro. But we didn't make it too prominent, did we?
Yeah, there is some Ebo in there, isn't there?
On that intro.
Give a little random element.
And then when I was trying to play far too many notes. That's not me on the guitar. That's the wave station.
And that's the waltz time
sequence
that we came up with. And And then what did I say to you? It's nice, it just could do this little skip section.
This is his prog influences. He always does it, mate. Always.
Yeah, I know that was a painful part of the process when I suggest that little skip. We'll try and point it out when we get there. It'll probably pass us by. Yeah, it just felt like it needed. It's almost like pressing a reset button every once in a while, and it just needed that little skip just to give it some structure. Which I think ended up, it did work well eventually, didn't it? That.
As long as I remember where it is, yeah.
I won't hold you to it. And this is where we talked about just holding back, with a lot of restraint in this song.
That behold,
just keep it. You got a beautiful guitar sound on this. You really.
No, you got a beautiful guitar sound.
Aye, all comes from the fingers, mate.
No.
That is.
I've been looking for that for 30 odd years. I have to do Moonwind again now then.
I mean, it has got, because I know you're obviously a big fan of the Shadows and Hank Marvin.
Yeah.
That type of smooth, velvety sound.
It's as though you're playing it with a felt spectrum.
We did crack it this time, didn't we?
It's a lovely guitar. I would love that you suss that out in the Helix for me.
Again, fewer notes.
Yeah, I remember I stuck about 3 or 4 notes on the end when I first played it, and you said, no, just do the first 4. Just do the first 3 or 4.
Again.
You were 3 at the first.
Yes, that's true, yeah.
3. Da, 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 da. 1, 2, 3. No, is it 4? I don't know. I just play the bloody thing. It did work. Your idea of less is more, which we've used before.
I thought it was in this because the more notes we put into it, it just filled in these spaces. It just didn't need it. It needed that space.
It's the gaps that make it.
And each note does bloom, doesn't it?
And then that's where we put the extra one in, which again was your idea. You said, no, the few at first, then put the extra one in later. Yeah, brilliant idea.
Originally, as I remember, this section only happened once, didn't it?
Oh yeah, we decided to stretch it out.
To add the rhythm that comes in a short while.
In it, yeah, which is again is your forte, and it was your idea to put the section in again with rhythm.
I remember the hard bit we wanted to really crunch that rhythm down, to really make it so it didn't impose. It really was so distorted, and we made it tiny.
We both agreed we didn't want arena drums kits. It just needed something to patter along.
Yeah,
again, which was your idea. In fact, this song's all your idea.
I stand on the shoulders of giants.
It's not standing on me. I'm not that sort of person.
There's the little skip.
Yeah.
So it kind of returns a little bit earlier than it perhaps should if you just let the rhythm run as it was.
Yeah. It just gives it another little slight colour.
I know you hated me for that.
I did. No, because I never know where it comes. I have to have the staff to clue me in.
And these little blips, originally they were just there to time us, weren't they? But we decided we liked them.
It works.
there's that rhythm. I think we added something like 2 or 3 different distortions to that drum pattern to really squash it down, didn't we?
We did a lot of work on that so that it wasn't overpowering. It had been quite easy to go over the top with that.
Yeah, it didn't want to impose at all. It just wanted to give the feeling of movement. And now the guitar's starting to open up and take different paths, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, just a couple, 2 or 3 extra notes each time. Yeah.
I know when we've played this live, there's some other paths that you've taken with this. It's a nice improvised section, isn't it, in a way?
You mean I couldn't remember how to play it?
It's a learning experience for all of us.
Playing with Johnny Dyson is an experience, and you can take that whichever way you want.
We're coming up. I remember when you first played this, you had this kind of pseudo sort of orchestra or a bigger section that came up, but at the time you kind of pseudoed it up with various bits and pieces of instruments, and it's fair to say it didn't have any size at that point, did it?
Exactly, yeah.
It kind of suggested what was going to happen, that it was going to be orchestral, and it had promise, but it did sound a bit home organ at the time, didn't it?
Well, because I'd just thrown it together like I usually do with these original ideas. I thought, I'll just throw this together quick. And when you heard it, you said I could do something with those chords. I mean, they're nothing complicated. It's just a sequence of chords. But it hit you straight away, and you immediately knew what you could do with it. But in terms of, let's say real strings and real orchestral sound.
I could sense it had that epic. It did. In my head, it already sounded huge.
Well, that's what I wanted, but I didn't have the facility at the time. This is where you score on the pun. With work for other people with the orchestral stuff.
Well, it certainly.
All the other artists that you work with.
It certainly felt already as if it was heading in that direction.
Yeah.
And I know that I can't remember when we added. There's a small little kind of string section that we added. That was quite a late addition, wasn't it? That one.
Yeah.
Which is coming up shortly after this. And I think that's the one where, when we'd written that string section and we did it and we redid it, we must have done it a dozen different ways, and it never quite sounded right, did it?
And we put the old teal string sound just at the top end, and that up to something. There was something like that at one bit.
We did, and then I sensed there was kind of like a Scottish lilt to it.
Yeah.
Which was never actually played. I was hearing a melody which wasn't played in the part, but it was a melody that there's a clash of a few notes, and it suggested a melody. And so finally, I think we just said, well, let's go with it. The melody that we're hearing in our heads, why don't we actually play that melody? And that's the one I played on a kind of an Irish kind of whistle sound.
Yeah, that comes up in a bit, doesn't it? That blue.
And
I love that. I love that French.
That section gelled, didn't it? Then.
Yeah, I love that horn thing.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a Roland. Is that Jupiter?
It's the Kronos. No, it's the Kronos.
Kronos, is it?
I think it was the Kronos on that.
I lost track. We had many different brass sounds as well laid up on one section.
So I mean, in the old days, we had a choice of 4. Now we've got 4,000. So we're just spoiled for choice.
Yeah, I think this is the string section coming up. This was a very difficult birth, this string section.
This was your theme.
This, yeah.
That's gorgeous.
Oh yeah, we added the harp as well, just to make it even more kind of Celtic. that bit. I've decided I like that
I do. I love that. It's the contrast. Right. Now we get. It's the contrast, the dynamics of this.
Yeah, that's. This was the build-up, wasn't it? Mellotron Choir.
Oh, of course.
Which I absolutely adore. Some people don't like that really barking because they really shout at you, don't they?
But in this instance, it does fit with everything else. If I win the lottery, I want all this playing in the Albert Hall.
If I win the lottery, I'll buy you some kettle drums.
I'd never get them upstairs. I always imagine the Albert Hall.
That's a good. I can imagine that now. Yeah.
The full orchestra. Yeah, it came out well.
Noisy things. What a racket. And then there's the dynamics again. It's really good to take that down to.
This is why we spent so much time with the levels and the gains and everything to give us the headroom to be able to do that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I remember.
We spent a lot of time doing that.
Yeah, just in the gains so that we got the dynamic range.
Yeah, I do remember we'd reached a point where we'd run out of volume, and yeah, we'd run out of volume at one point. I remember we had to drop the level of everything, didn't we, to give ourselves some space at this end section.
Which is what you said. You know, if we get the levels right, apart from the odd fade up and down, the thing will mix itself, more or less.
Yeah, it practically did up to a point. And all this end section.
There were a lot of EQ work went into it though, because like you always say, everything's got to have its own space.
Yeah,
that's the critical bit.
Because what we wanted in this end section, we wanted it to be a cacophony. We wanted everything to really build to a massive crescendo, but we still wanted each part to be heard.
Yeah. I think we spent more time on this end section than we did on the orchestral section, if I remember rightly, because we were trying to get the dynamic of it to build up slowly, and then as it goes further and further on, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, which is what we wanted.
That's true, because at this point you don't want it to sound tiny and quiet and weird.
No.
You still want it to have some kind of girth, but you don't want to use up all your headroom.
Exactly. It's all about headroom, as you always say.
Yeah, all about that restraint. I remember one of probably the very last thing we added was the big Moog Taurus bass pedal in that.
Oh yeah.
I think maybe the last 16 or 8 bars or whatever.
Yeah.
And trying to find the space to fit that in. We knew it would sound epic. But we were literally just out of that headroom, weren't we?
I think at the end of the day we had to work backwards from that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, this is going to be the biggest thing ever in the song, so we had to work backwards from there. But because we'd set the gains at a comfortable level, it was relatively simple to do once we got that maximum peak.
And it needed that because again, when that bass pedal does come in, you do want to hear it. You do want to know it's there. If it was just hidden in the mix, there'd be no point having it there anyway.
It's all about leaving yourself that dynamic range and headroom to do that.
I'll jump the track on a little bit. I'll jump it down towards the end. There's the big kind of Wavestar sequences built up as well.
I think Steve did some of them.
And that fabulous lead sound you've got there. That's the Korg Sigma, isn't it? String?
Sigma, yeah.
Cuts through everything.
Yeah. Like the old single used.
Again, I love doing this live.
It's fabulous, isn't it? It always gets a good ring.
It's such a
tourist moment.
So it's big trolls with the tree trunks.
Yeah.
The drumsticks.
Crowding. And I love this what Steve-O did at the end.
He's got some amazing things. Steve-O got lots of little sequences running. And you hear them in that midsection fade as well, don't you? In the midsection
yeah. So we said we'll just let that run out. Like, yeah, Stephan, that's your little bit.
He was these noises running, and I just said, keep doing that while I hit record. And we just as it was at that time.
Yeah, he was just messing about at one point, weren't he?
Yeah.
And we said, we'll hit record, and we stuck that.
Keep doing that.
We like that. We like doing things.
Refers to it, Steve, it's bottling lightning. When he strikes, you've got to be there, haven't you?
You've got to be there. Yeah. Good stuff.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love revisiting that. That's just such a great.
So all I've got to do now is learn how to bloody play it again. Yeah.
That's right. Okay. For the next time we play live.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, we'll end it there. Yeah. If people out there, if you like it, if it's fun, if it's interesting, we'll do some more. Let us know.
Let us know. Well, we've got, I don't know, 3 or 4 tracks into the new album, aren't we? Sort of thing, more or less. We've got work to do, but obviously, with the situation, like everybody else, we're keeping safe. We keep apart for the time being. So be safe out there, everybody, until we can all get together again. All right?
See you again the next time.
Coffee time.
Bye.
Hey. Bye.